Hello and welcome to my workshop. On today's episode, I'll be making a gift for Cleetus. Now if you guys are a big fan of Cleetus like I am, you're probably going to recognise this drawstring bag. Now if there's some of you who don't know who Cleetus is, let me explain. Cleetus McFarland, aka Garrett Mitchell, is an automotive YouTuber that I discovered back in 2017 when he bought Leroy, his C5 Corvette. Now since then I've seen him build a range of cars like Ruby, Toast, Donnie, the Mystery Machine, RIP, Rocky, McFlurry, Mullet and the Dale Truck. Now I nearly forgot my favourite, Neighbour, his Crown Vic burnout car. Now not only does he race all these cars, but he also races stadium trucks, jet boats and aeroplanes. That's right, aeroplanes. He got himself a carbon cub and now does time trials. So now that you know a little bit more about Cleetus, let's get back to this bag. Now over the years I've watched Cleetus grow from this young kid to this nice fine adult that he is today, and I feel like I've got a real connection with him, and I think that's mainly because my own son Jake is around the same age. Now I've got to admit I'm pretty proud of Cleetus. He's gotten married, he's had a child, he's got another one on the way, but I think one of his biggest accomplishments is the Freedom Factory. Now for those of you who don't know, back in 2020, Cleetus bought the old abandoned racetrack DeSoto Speedway and turned it into the Freedom Factory. Now since then he's renovated it into the awesome racetrack it is today. Now you might be asking yourself, what's this bag got to do with all this? Well, about 3 years ago, Cleetus needed to do some major renovations to the track and it was going to be quite expensive. So he asked his fans for a little help and created this bundle. It come with a limited edition Freedom Construction shirt, a signed postcard from Cleetus and James, a mullet, which I'll explain a bit more about this later, and most importantly, it come with a little jar of Freedom Factory Asphalt, or bitumen as we call it in Australia. Now even though the main reason I bought this bundle was to help out Cleetus with his track upgrade, I was really excited to receive my very own piece of it. Now to show my appreciation of Cleetus in all the hours of entertainment that he's provided me, I'm going to take a piece of this bitumen, make a really cool project and then send it back to him. Now before I go cracking the lid on this jar, the first thing I'm going to do is pour myself a black base layer. Now that my base layer is all set, I can pop it out of this container and glue down the bitumen. You know, it's pretty awesome to think that this bitumen has travelled all the way from Florida to Queensland, which is about 9,500 miles. Incredible. I think I'll use these two larger pieces. They're surprisingly heavy as well. And I think with these smaller ones, I might keep a few for myself and I might make some eggs with the others. Now my plan here is to take these pieces and glue them down with some 5-minute epoxy. Now I'm also going to mix in the same colour pigment that I used in this base, that way you won't notice the glue. that my glue's all set, I'm going to pop this back into the container and start mixing up some more resin. This next resin pour is going to be a lot deeper than the first one, so I'll be using a deep casting resin, and I'm also going to slightly tint the resin with this black alcohol ink. Now I don't want this to be too dark, I just want a slight tint, so I'm just going to use this toothpick and put a little bit on the end. Now before I go pouring this resin into the container, I'm going to pop it into my vacuum chamber so I can pull all the air out. So you guys might be wondering why I have such an interest in the automotive world. Well, when I was 13, I used to strip apart transmissions for my dad, and when I turned 17, I started my apprenticeship, and 4 years later, I became a fully qualified mechanic. Now, even though I don't pull spanners for a living anymore, I still like playing around with cars, especially my 1983 Holden Commodore, and only last week, I put on a Holly Sniper. Nicole and I love taking it out. We take it on cruises, we go to car shows, we hang out with our friends, we have a really good time. So now you know why I love watching Cleetus. Let's get back to the action. Now that I've removed all the bubbles by degassing the resin in the vacuum chamber, I can now pour it over this bitumen. Now I'm going to pop this in the pressure pot to cure. While that's in the pot curing, let me show you who'll be driving on this bitumen. Dale Earnhardt in his 1995 Monte Carlo. Now I'm sure if you ask Cleetus to name a few drivers who he'd love to take laps around the Freedom Factory, one of them would definitely be Dale Earnhardt. Now unfortunately that can't happen, so I'm going to have to replicate it for him. This NASCAR was actually hard to find. It's not very popular here in Australia, and I had to buy this one from the US. We don't really see much of it on TV either. The only things I know about NASCAR is what I've learnt from watching Days of Thunder.
He rubbed you, and rubbing, son, is racing.
Wow, check that out. That's a cool looking car. Now I guess you guys might be wondering, why Dale Earnhardt? Well, that's because we gotta do it for Dale.
Do it for Dale. Do it for Dale. Do it for Dale. Do it for Dale. Do it for Dale. Do it for Dale. Do it for Dale. That's it for now. Thanks for watching. Do it for
Dale. Now there is one thing I need to do before we glue this down to the bitumen, and that is to bang it up a little bit. That way it looks like it's actually been in a race. Well, now that it looks like it's done a bit of rubbing, it's time to get the bitumen out and get it glued down. Now I'm going to glue this car down with some UV resin. Now I can only get 2 of these wheels touching the bitumen, so we're just going to have to assume that the other 2 are on the grass. So it's now time for the final pour, and I'll be adding a slight tint of blue to this one. Now once I've poured it, I'll be putting this container inside the vacuum chamber. I'm going to create a vacuum, pulling all the air out that's trapped inside the car. And then once I've done that, I can put it into the pressure pot and we can watch it cure on pot cam. Now I'm just going to pop this container into the vacuum chamber to pull these bubbles out before I go pouring it into this container. I think I might need to lift pot cam up a little bit. I feel like it's too low. Hopefully that's a bit better. Let's just hope pot cam actually works this time. We've had a few failures lately. While that's in the pot curing, I need to explain to you guys more about this mullet. Now mullets are fairly popular in Australia, and a few years ago when Cleetus was getting toast ready to bring it over for our Australian summer nats, he asked you guys whether or not he should grow one, and there was an overwhelming yes, so he did.
It's official. I'm freaking business in the front, party in the back. Now it's a mini mullet.
And ever since then, he's kept it. It's kind of been his trademark. Even so much so that he's named his drag racing El Camino mullet. And in preparation for this video, I started growing a mullet. I think it's looking pretty good. Although once this video is finished, I think it might disappear. I don't think Nicole likes it. It's now time to let all the air out of the pot and see how it looks. After taking a look inside that pot, I didn't realise it was so cramped. I probably should have stuck this one inside of Freddy, that way we would have had more room. But anyway, we'll know for next time. It's now time to take a look at this casting. You guys ready? Look at that! How awesome does that look? It's so clear. Look on top there. It is absolutely crystal. This thing looks bloody unreal. Check it out. Hopefully it comes out of this container nice and easy. Okay, it is fighting me a little bit. I might shoot some air in there. Okay, let's try that again. How easy was that? Wow. That looks amazing. I can't believe how good that turned out. This has to be one of the clearest castings I've ever done. Now when I first made the decision to use this mould, I was going to take it out and then square all the sides up. But after seeing how well these corners look, I think I might leave them on there. Now on the top here it is a bit sharp, so I will take that off and make it nice and smooth. And on the bottom, I'm going to do something special. So I've just given this bottom a quick sand, and like I said before, I want to do something special on there. So I got my laser picker out, and I think it might be really cool to engrave the Freedom Factory logo. Looks like I've got enough room for one more logo. Well, they look pretty cool. All I need to do now is give it a bit of a clean up, a spray with some clear, and then it's all finished. Now one last thing before we take a final look. Do you guys remember at the start of this video when I said I'm making this as a gift for Cleetus? Well, if you guys know Cleetus or have Cleetus on social media, let him know to keep an eye on his letterbox, because he's got a big ass parcel coming. Now let's check it out. Well guys, that's it for this week's episode. I hope you enjoyed this one. If you did, leave me a big thumbs up, leave me a comment, share this video with your friends. It all helps my channel grow. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you next time.